first of all, a very good morning to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I think Health Summit and AIM has been doing an amazing job in bringing all the different players, all the different stakeholders in the healthcare industry together. So traditionally, while we may have thought that healthcare only comprises of doctors and hospitals, but it's such a huge variety of stakeholders. There are digital players, there are telemedicine players, there are different pharmaceutical players, and till they don't all find ways to work together in a synergy, I think the overall healthcare ecosystem of Pakistan cannot really be built. So first of all, thank you so much to our amazing panelists for joining us. In terms of how the orders are, I think the first question, I'll start with Javed Saab. So I think we all talk about digital healthcare and how it is relevant for the pharma sector, but I think something which is really pertinent, particularly today, is that how can pharmaceutical companies ensure that their digital innovations are accessible and inclusive for all patient populations, including those with limited access to technology? And maybe, if you can share some success stories from your own experience. So, over to you.
Assalamu alaikum. So thank you very much to AIMS Consulting and AKU for inviting us, and we are honored to be a part of this panel. So we're talking about the technology here. So if you look at the pharmaceutical and the patient-centric approach that we have been discussing in the previous panel as well, that main purpose or the objective of the pharmaceutical company is to serve patients. And our main job is to produce high-quality medicines that are safe and effective and can be used by the community that we serve. We are not directly interacting with the patient because this is the job of the doctors. They have to do that, and the hospitals. But what we can do as a pharmaceutical company is to facilitate and help doctors to connect with the patients, or we can come up with the kind of tools that can really help the community, that can interact and talk about the patient safety and the improvement in the health and life of the people. So as a pharmaceutical company, what we do is that as a starting part is our new product development. So new product development is involved from a lab scale batches to the pilot scale batches, and then finally we can go into the commercial batches. So the technology, the data is involved in each and every step. We are highly regulated industry. So if we are inspected by any regulatory body outside Pakistan or within Pakistan, like MHRA or FDA, so they will start gathering the data from the lab scale batches to the final commercial batches. So each and every step, data gathering is very, very critical and very important. And without technology these days is really impossible now to produce the high quality medicines. Previously, there was all manual system, but now what we can see is that manual intervention has completely been, or mostly been eliminated. We have proper monitoring system, proper control systems. And when we are inspected and audited by the international regulatory bodies, they don't look at our machinery and equipment. The first thing, the most emphasized they do, the most important thing is they look at our system. Because systems involve technology, and they evaluate our system, that how good our system is, what kind of access controls we have, what kind of internal control mechanism we have, how we can have the automatic detection system of defects. So these are the all important areas which will be evaluated by any regulator. Now coming to your question to the patient-centric approaches, that
particularly people in low-income communities, or those who don't have technology.
Yeah, sure. So what the pharmaceutical companies are doing is that we are working with medical community, we are working with NGOs, we are working with other groups to create awareness among the society, among the population in remote areas. We're doing a lot of activities through digital. Telehealth is one of the initiatives which was in collaboration with the pharmaceutical industry has been introduced. The way we are working on the remote monitoring and helping doctors to assess the life, assess the habits of the patient. This is the kind of things every pharmaceutical company is now doing that. And I think this kind of activity will continue for the country like Pakistan. but the access is very limited. If you look at per capita availability of doctors is one of the lowest in the world. We have remote areas, peripheries, which are not very functional, not very operative. So here is a big challenge, and I think pharmaceutical companies have limited resource, but within our resources, we are trying our level best to create awareness, to make an access of medicine. Second is when you talk about the e-commerce is another very important area where patients are getting their medicines online without really going to the pharmacy. This is the one area that we are working together with the trade and the pharmaceutical group. In this way, you can really avoid the dispensing errors, because dispensing errors we can see a kind of lot of risk. We have seen the mortality rate because of the dispensing errors. So this can be avoided through the digital prescriptions. So these are the areas we are working on.
Thank you so much for your comments. Moving over to Harun Saab, I think when we started our journey, you've been on and off a very important part of our journey at Sehat Kahani as well. So I hold immense regard for you and your organization. I think the question that I'll ask you about is that we're really focused on patient-centric approaches. So what are the key drivers behind the growing emphasis on patient-centric approaches in the pharma industry? And can you share some examples of recent digital innovations in the pharmaceuticals that have significantly improved the patient experience?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Dr. Ifat. I'm glad to meet you after a long time. And thanks to AIMS Consulting for bringing the pharmaceutical industry to this conference. I think whoever I see here are from the healthcare profession, or the hospitals, or the nursing, or the paramedical staff. So I think you will resonate with us, from the pharmaceutical industry. Because I hope we are not, alien to you. The language is alien to you. So the pharmaceutical industry, I think, plays an integral part in the entire healthcare ecosystem, in the sense that the patient comes to the hospitals or to the doctors or to the physician to get some cure and to get better. And I think the pharmaceutical industry plays a pivotal role, because if the medicines are not there, how the patient or the physician will support the entire healthcare system. So everything what my friend Javed mentioned about the patient-centric, I think is from the pharmaceutical industry point of view, since whatever we do is for the patient. So we are also very patient-centric in the form of when we develop the products, or when we are working on a new molecule or a therapy for the patients. So all our efforts in the pharma industry are very, very patient-focused and patient-centric. One thing which is over the years, as in the recent years, which has come across for the pharmaceutical industry is, patient benefit and patient safety. Because in the recent past, you must have heard, the products or the drugs being substandard, or the patients, impacting the patients. Not in Pakistan, globally, there have been molecules which have been withdrawn from the market, from the world, and these are global players, which have in the recent past launched the new molecules, but it did not benefit the patients, and the patient safety was compromised. So pharmaceutical industry has a very important role when we launch the product to make sure the patient safety is very, very important. So this is what the general dimension of the pharmaceutical industry is, that whenever we launch a product, the patient safety is very important for us. So from the quality, from the documentation perspective, and the recent emphasis by the regulators is data integrity. And as we were talking about EMR and EHR in the hospital context, the regulators are very, very specific to see what is the data integrity process of the pharmaceutical industry, because the quality parameters, the processes, the quality assurance, everything creates a lot of data, and any data fudging compromises the product at the end of the day. So it's very important that data integrity in the pharmaceutical industry is controlled by the regulators, and they're very keenly looking at the companies now who are compromising the data integrity. So coming to to the overall context, the patient-centric, patient safety, and how do we interact with the patients now with this, all the digital, technology in the digital world. I think the pharmaceutical industry is coming closer to the patient as well through various social media channels. And if you look at the global context in the pharma industry, I think pharmaceutical industry is a slow follower of the social media because there are a lot of regulations involved, and it is important to follow the regulators' guidelines. So they are slow followers, but globally now the pharmaceutical industry is upfront with the patients, and they have a lot of on the social media. The platforms which the pharmaceutical industry is using. For example, there are chatbots which have been launched by the pharmaceutical industry of certain products and certain disease, certain drugs, and this is coming closer to the patient. So I would say that the industry is coming closer to the patients as we speak now. In the sense what my colleague just mentioned, that pharma industry is not directly interacting with the patients, but slowly and gradually there are opportunities coming in where the industry itself is directly talking to the patients a lot through the social media and through the technology platform that we are developing over the next years and in the future as well. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Moving over to Tahir Saab, I think being a low middle income country, a challenge that we saw very prominently happening in Pakistan last year was that a lot of medicines were not available because of challenges of LC, because of a lot of sanctions on import, export. I think because of all of these challenges, I think for a country like us, it becomes really important that how are we promoting products being developed in Pakistan. So I think when we talk about new product development, I think Javed Saab has shed some light on that, but extending it further, mixing digital product, digitization of healthcare and product development, what digital strategies you feel pharmaceutical companies need to take to really ensure quality product development and, kind of going at par with what the international standards are going at the moment.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Rifat. It's a very interesting question. First and foremost, thank you so much for inviting me and allowing me to share the stage with these two personalities, Dr. Javed Saab and Harun Saab. They are the big pharmaceutical names, and I'm honored to share this stage with them. As regard product development, I mean, information technology, digitalization has touched every area of life, starting from banking to communication and so on and so forth. And pharmaceutical is not an exception. And within pharmaceutical, there is no area with exception. Same goes for product development. Product development has been a very tedious process long time back. It takes years of structural test, and it takes a lot of time. Now, in recent time, AI and machine learning has excused the time of this process, subsequently the cost with the help of trillions of data set available in the database. Let me give you some very, very interesting example. Ciprofloxacin is antibiotic, we all do. The product was launched and approved in 1980, and the company took around 9 years to develop this product. And once again, they went through a tedious process of a structure test more than 500 plus times just to reach to one single molecule that can have a positive effect against gram-positive pathogens. Now compare this with the recent development of sitagliptin. Sitagliptin was approved in 2012, somewhere around, and the company which invented sitagliptin did a smart thing. They developed a partnership with Codexis. Codexis is a protein manufacturing company. They have the enzyme structure specialization, and they once again have trillions of enzymatic structure in their database. Say, what did they do? They run on the request of MSD AI algorithms, and with the help of that, they found the closest receptor-specific structure for the inhibition of DPP4. And within next 2 years after this discovery, MSD managed to launch this product and develop sitagliptin. So the 9 years time reduced to 2 years, and not only the time, it is more than the time, it is the cost of the product which required to develop a product reduced down. And this is essentially because of the technology and digitalization. Now, I may be sounding like living in a fool's paradise if I say one day Pakistan will start developing these products. Because we know that it takes about $1 billion to develop one single product, bringing into the market without any guarantee to be successful. And from the industry, which itself is a $3 billion, you cannot expect to spend $1 billion in product development, let alone one company, even the consortium cannot do that. But with the passage of time, we have a huge youth population interested in technology. And with this emerging technology, one day, there can be a possibility that the people in Pakistan, the young generation and scientists in Pakistan, with the help of this technology, can squeeze the time enough and the cost enough that Pakistan will one day develop the population-specific medicines for our country. And I think today it looks far cry, but I think this can be possible one day. So this is how technology is changing the paradigm of product development.
I think really, yeah, absolutely, please.
When it comes to product development, I totally agree with you, and that we are not into the basic research, because mostly the basic research is being carried out in West, like US, Europe, and Japan and Australia, these countries. But Pakistan is dominated by the generic pharmaceutical companies. When you say the generic pharmaceutical companies, is like we are, after the patents are off, then the generic companies will get into the market and they develop the product. So in order to develop a product, sometimes people think is a simple copy. No, it's not like this. The formulation development is a complete science. So you have to prove when you develop a generic product that your product is bioequivalent to the innovator, and your comparative dissolution profile is matching, and you have complied with all the safety parameters. So yes, we are not into basic research, but still pharmaceutical industry is investing a lot on research and development of generic formulations.
So I think these are really positive thoughts. And when we talk about Pakistan, I think I'm really patriotic. I'm really positive that we all need to work together for a much brighter Pakistan. And it won't happen till we all don't join forces together, all the different stakeholders. Because we have limited time, I'll quickly move over to you, Harun Sahab. I think, what are your thoughts about ethics and regulatory concepts when it comes to amalgamation of the pharma industry and the digital sector? So what are your thoughts on that?
So as I mentioned just now about data integrity, I think ethics in the pharmaceutical industry plays an important role, because at the end of the day we are dealing with the human lives, and it's important that whatever the product comes out is safe for the patient. And I always tell my team, we as we are a pilot, and we have got 200 passengers, on board with us. And one mistake by anyone on the production floor or even in a quality control, not only 200 passengers on the board on the aircraft, there are probably 10,000 patients we can compromise their health. So it's absolutely necessary. People working in the pharmaceutical industry understands that they are dealing with the human lives, and it's so important for everyone on the production floor, not only on the production floor, the quality control, the janitor, it's so important that ethics has to be an integral part of the pharmaceutical industry. So this is what we try to instill the philosophy in our people, and there are processes. There are, as I mentioned, the regulators are looking at the data integrity. And in the world, we have, seen a lot of companies compromising the data integrity and they being penalized by the regulators. And same thing happens in this country, and the regulators are on their foot always to ensure that the pharmaceutical industry complies to the international standards and to the global standards. And I think, as my colleagues mentioned about, the generic industry, the pharmaceutical companies are playing an important role in the research and development, in developing those even generic products, and the products which are being even looked from other end, the grass is always looks at the greener at the other side. it's not like this, as I just mentioned, we're dealing with the human life. One single mistake can compromise thousands of patients in this country. So yes, ethics plays an important role in the entire processes.
So over to you, Tahir Saab. I think one aspect which is really important is patient feedback. And so can you discuss the role of patient feedback and engagement in driving continuous improvement in the pharma services? And what strategies can be employed to improve customer engagement and services in pharma, e-commerce perhaps, or other pharma digital interventions that your organization or any other organization that you can give an example of does?
Right, thank you. So as my senior said about the product development and the allied research we do, so beside manufacturing quality products with a lot of ethics considering the human life in mind, the other part of the pharmaceutical is providing services. So when it comes to services, it is mostly about the awareness of the disease, education about the product itself and the lifestyle, and of course the feedback of the product, which is called pharmacovigilance. Technology, how can technology be used? So recently in Pakistan pharmaceutical industry, we have incorporated serialization on the pack of the product, which can take you back to the manufacturing date. It can prove the authenticity of the product, where it is manufactured, and the expiry and everything. There is an idea we are working on, and we need to check, and we are in process of checking the regulatory aspects of this. That is, what about having a QR code on the back of the pack? And this QR code can take the patient, particularly because the chronic diseases, the most of the chronic diseases, diabetes, hypertension, neurological disorder, needs lifestyle modification. And in the absence of knowledge about the lifestyle modification, most of the medicine do not work enough, at least, to provide patient the relief which is required. Therefore, this QR code can take the patient to the platform, the video, such as we have a platform by the name of Heal, which is non-branded, no product branding, no company branding, but it is purely for disseminating the information required for the patient suffering from chronic diseases. So that QR code can take the patient, if somebody is taking anti-diabetic, it needs how to live a life with diabetes. So a doctor, like you guys, have a video and that platform, and the patient can see that video. That particular QR code can even take them to the doctor. I don't know how it is possible, but it is just a thought we are working on. And of course, a very important factor of feedback, which is pharmacovigilance. So it can take the patient to the portal of the company, so that if there is any undesirable side effect, patient can report that and the company can work on it. So the pharmacovigilance, patient awareness, and consulting with the doctor, all possible with single QR code on the back of the pack. So this is something which we are working, and I hope most of the companies must be thinking about it.
Thank you so much for your comments. I think we just have 5 minutes left, and I think last but not least, Javed Saab, you talked about quality assurance slightly in your earlier answer, but what does digital health or digitization play a role in terms of ensuring quality assurance for products?
Thank you. I think quality is, as we say, is the main purpose or main objective of pharmaceutical is to produce high quality medicine. So our quality management system is now completely an electronic quality management system where the complete data is available. You can have all the online backups are available, and you can do the traceability of each and every test that you are performing. When any evaluators or inspectors are coming, they look at your quality management system is one of the most important system, and they approve the manufacturing facility or approve any drug or a product. So these HPLCs data will have an online backup, which is the cloud-based backups are there. Then access controls are very critical because no human intervention is possible. And data manipulation chances are very less. It's completely been eliminated because of these quality management systems that we are using. And then we perform all kind of test and analysis which is required to produce or develop any particular product. And then a comprehensive analysis is being conducted. And then there is a proper system of annual product review, because once your product is marketed, is available in the field, available in the pharmacy stores, then after 1 year, each product has to be, 1 year review has to be done for each and every product from every aspect. Each batch are analyzed to make sure that is complying with all the parameters required for that particular product. So annual product review, which is called APR, is one of the most important area which every quality control person or the evaluator or the inspector will do that. Because it's not only about developing the product, it's also about maintaining the quality in the longer term. Because we, at the end of the day, we are human. Because later on, if you identify any kind of side effects, if we can see any kind of deterioration in the product, so it can only be analyzed, it can only be evaluated once the product is available in the market. When we launch any product, definitely we performed a 6-month accelerated stability study. When I say accelerated stability study, we're talking about 40-degree temperature and 75% humidity. Pakistan falls in zone 2 of the international guidelines, which is 30 and 65, but we do the accelerated stability study. Then also, we also have the real-time stability data. So throughout the shelf life, we keep on analyzing to make sure that product is performing and all the quality parameters are intact. So this is called the real-time stability testing that we perform. And based on the real-time data, then we extend the shelf life of the product from 2 years to 3 years. So quality is every aspect, whatever we are producing. And now when it comes to the marketing, when it comes to the literature, the detailed brochures, when we go and detail our products to the doctors, and from there, whatever the information that we are sharing must be available, must be authentic. So we have to ensure the quality at that level too. Through this forum, I'll just take 1 minute here because all the important hospitals and doctors are here. Dr. Farid Abbas, as the authority, is also here. What we have noticed is that when we are exporting our products in any international market, so there is almost like a 2 years of product evaluation of our dossiers. And then there will be inspectors coming to visit our facility, and they will take 3 to 4 days of a complete inspection. Each and every system they are going to evaluate, they are going to audit. But when we are making our products available to the hospitals, what I request here personally is that hospitals should also have the robust system. It's not only the pricing that should play a critical role to get into the hospital formulary, but the quality should be an important aspect too. What we have noticed here is that there's not a very proper or comprehensive system of product evaluation that pharmaceutical companies want to get into any particular hospital too. At the same time, now through the digital and technology is available, all the hospital can have an access to the quality, to the manufacturing of the pharmaceutical products through their systems. So you can really monitor what your patients are getting. So my request is that when the hospital formularies are made and you're including those products of the pharmaceutical drugs, so please consider quality as the most important criteria. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much thank you to all our amazing respective panelists. I think I belong from a digital healthcare industry, but I feel digitization, digital healthcare technologies, telemedicine, pharma sector, hospitals, they all go hand in hand. They all work very closely. And we always have to find innovations and creations. And I think, Tahir Saab, you mentioned that if there's a way you can access a doctor through a QR code, I'll definitely talk to you after this on how we can do that for you. So thank you once again for an amazing audience. We would have loved to take questions, but I think we are out of time. So again, thank you to everyone for being an amazing audience here. Till we meet again. Thank you very much.